Hey, it's Jeremy here. Um, I thought I'd just share some of the kind of experience I suppose I've been having in hiring people on odesk for our team. So we've got staff locally in Newcastle, but we also have people in a number of different countries who help us with things like graphics and programming and site updates and all sorts of things like marketing, search engines, even now, and writing, all sorts of things like that. So, and largely we'll decide who fulfills each role based on the kind of job it is and what sort of expertise are required and things like that. And I don't know if I can encapsulate, the last 6 years or something into 10 minutes, but I thought I'll share some of the key things I think are perhaps not necessarily obvious when you're looking for someone to help you remotely. Now, odesk and other freelance type sites are quite popular, and there's a few of them. But my experience is all with odesk, and I've stuck to it. I find it's very useful, very easy to use. The timesheet system's good skill base of people available, and it works well. I'm a little bit how do I say this? I don't really like you posting the jobs publicly. I find that I end up with a very high ratio of noise to like appropriate person. If I really can't find someone that I think will fit the role, then I will post a job. But you get a lot of applications and you've got to sift right through them, and it can be quite time consuming. So what I tend to do, and I'm sure there's other people who do the same thing, I'll work out roughly what it is the role happens to be. So in a few sentences, I'll describe, okay, let's say I'm going to hire someone for graphic design. So I'll say, look, it's a graphic design role, and you'll be doing logos and websites. You need to be creative. You'll need to understand Photoshop and Illustrator. So drop in some of the key words that they're expecting to see. And each industry or business will have some different keywords. So if you use AutoCAD and you need them to use that, then drop that into there. If you use SolidWorks, put that in there. If it's someone who needs to use Xero for accounting, put that in there, so that they know that you are asking for a certain skill. And you might put in just a little bit, maybe like the type of work that's going to be involved. So say, look, it might require you a couple of hours a day, maybe expanding in that in the future, and I'm looking for someone long term, or whatever the role is. If it's short term, put in short term. You can define some of these filters as well. But then, so once I've created that job, the next thing I'll do is go and look for people who match what I think the profile will be. So I'll use the search function and I'll filter down to some criteria, and I'll just list out some of the things which I think are quite good filters, so that you know what's happening. So I'll just pull this up on the screen here so I can actually sort of talk you through this while I'm doing it. Okay, so first off, I normally would set 100 hours as a good benchmark for experience. And if there's many candidates, 1,000 hours, which means that's the amount of time that's been logged on odesk. And I want those, and the trigger you can set as well is for those 100 hours to be within the last 6 months. So that tells you immediately this person is regularly using odesk to do some work. So you've got some idea that they're there actively. They're not just signed up and disappeared. One of the other options I like to set is the activity within the last month, so that I know they've been logging into the website reasonably recently. And sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So the English level, depending on the role, you may want to set that to 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, but I've found that it's almost not that useful to worry about setting that, because it's a very it's a subjective thing, and I don't think many people discredit themselves on that scale anyway. Um, Depending on how many candidates there are, you might want to filter this down further. So you could set feedback to be just 4 to 5 stars maybe. It depends on how many people are in the filter. If you've got 1,000 people, you need to filter it down a bit tighter. So you might, restrict the hourly rate, or set the country, or something like that. And if you're looking for someone to be a part of your team, then you do need to think about, like, how much are we going to pay them, what sort of skills have they had, and that sort of thing. And if once you've filtered down the list a little bit and start to read some of the profiles and work out what keywords people are putting in that match up with the type of job you have. So if you're looking for someone that does, I don't know, let's say that you want them to do illustration and to be able to use YouTube. That's probably not a very good example. Let's say you wanted to do let's say you wanted to do some illustrations for you. So the tool or the software that you would normally use to do that is probably going to be Adobe Illustrator. That's like the leading one. If you're looking for a bookkeeper, you might look for someone that can use MYOB. Or if you want someone that is going to be able to help you with project management and you use Basecamp, then you might want someone that can use Basecamp. And so these keywords freelancers will put into their profile. So now you can use the search tool to filter out people who just have the word Basecamp in their profile, for example. This gives you a short list to work with. You certainly can't just go through that list and just hire randomly. No more than you would with the people in local situation where you're looking at resumes. But what it does is gives you a short list to work through. So you can see, read through profiles and go, these are the kinds of people I think would fit this role. And if you've worked your way through the first page and you go, yeah, okay, they're basically the right sort of skill set, they've got experience. The next is read through them all and pick out some favourites. And depending on how many positions you've got, if there's just one position, then you probably want to pick maybe 3 people who are the best people for that role. And what you should do is when you're looking at, or what I do, I say what you should do, but I mean what I would do. You don't have to do anything, okay? But this is what I would do. I look at their activity and I see, have they got a couple of jobs open? Have they applied for jobs recently, or they've all been just bombarded by the client who was asking for the job? Have a look through their experience and their qualifications, especially if there are official qualifications you're looking for. So if you want a CPA, or you want someone that's gone to a design degree, or an engineer, or someone that can, maybe they've done a typing course, or who knows, whatever the role is, you want to have a look and see, do they have those kinds of criteria, just like you would with any other employee. Okay, so now you've got your short list of people that you think are good candidates for your position. You now need to contact them and invite them to have a talk to you. They may be busy and they may not be ready to take on your work. So take the line of approach of, hello, are you interested in working with me? Just let me know so we can have a chat. So you don't know, they may be busy, they may not have full workload. You have no idea where people are up to in life. You can take a guess because you can see, how many jobs have they got open and things like that. But you don't know what happens in their life or how busy they are. So just take the approach of, are you interested in working with me? They don't have to. You need to be friendly. And I find, I don't know what everybody does, but I find if you treat people just genuinely and honestly, just like you would if they were anybody else. These are people with, remember, these are people with real lives just like you and me. They've probably got family, they've got, kids in the background that are asking for their attention. They might have other clients that they've got pressure to deal with, or, they might have a problem with their internet connection, or who knows, all sorts of things happen, just like they do anywhere else in the world. So remember to talk as if these are people who you would like to work with and who you are interested in employing because they've got skills you're looking for. Once you've got some communication going, I usually ask for an email address and a Skype ID. Because really, one of the best tests I find is to just get someone on Skype and have a chat to them. Find out what they are like, how well you can converse with them. So have they got nice fluid English, or is it a little bit difficult for them? Have a talk to them about their experience. Ask them what kind of things they've done recently. Maybe they can give you some examples of projects they've been working on, and just find out a bit more about them. Okay, so now you've got a few candidates, maybe 2 or 3 that you're pretty comfortable with who can do the work you're looking for. And you want to decide, who am I going to hire first? Now, I do not recommend just going for the cheapest possible hire. That doesn't work in any scenario. Like, whether you're paying for a job, or you're paying for a service, or you're paying a plumber, or whatever it is, you want quality. Especially if you're going to be trusting these people to help you on a day-to-day basis. You need them to be comfortable with what they're earning. And there's all different level of experience will justify different level of income. And, you shouldn't just consider that whatever the wage is locally for you, or whatever someone else on your team is earning, is necessarily right for this person. There's a negotiation process. You need the person to be comfortable with what they're earning, but also for that to be appropriate for their skill and experience. So if you've got someone that's professionally qualified and has 1,000 hours of experience on odesk, and they've been in the industry for a decade, it's probably appropriate to pay them more than someone that might only have a couple of years experience and has less track record on odesk, and maybe they're not as as many feedback ratings or that sort of thing. You just look at what people, just like you would if you hired someone locally. You pay for people with experience, and you want to hire the best person for the job. That does not mean the cheapest person. It does also not mean the most expensive person. I'm saying you all the time. I mean me. This is how I like to approach things. Okay, you can do whatever you like, but this is how it works for what I like to do. And I just remember, these people are just regular people who want to have interesting work to do and reliable employment and get paid each week and being comfortable with what they're going to happen next month, next year. So the next step is really to do a test project or a trial project or a test employment. So you need to come up with a little way of doing a test module with someone, whether that's a design or a drawing, or it's a process or some kind of work thing that like set of tasks you're going to ask them to do. It may not even be exactly what you're going to hire them to do. You could say, look, here's some instructions to look up some information on Google and summarize it and present it to me in a PowerPoint file, or something like that, just to test, general office skills. Once you find the right person, hang on to them. Make sure they're happy. So that, give them good work to do. Keep them well organized. Keep their work reasonably well organized. Make sure they've got good instructions. Check with them, make sure they are okay, that they understand what they need to do. Ask for feedback. Make sure that you explain to people that you are approachable and that they can talk to you about whatever needs to happen to them. If someone is sick, then take that at face value. Now, people generally are honest and good and will tell you the truth. So if one of our guys last week had very severe conjunctivitis, and he volunteered to send me his doctor's certificate, which he did, and I was like, wow, that's really, this is a contractor who's been with me for many years, and he's let me know that, no, this is what happened, this is why I wasn't able to do this work last week, and I wasn't able to be at the computer, and to me, that's fantastic. Now I know what's happening. I have had employees locally that have been less respectful than that, to be honest. So I felt that was a fairly good, communication. You don't have to pay bonuses necessarily, but if you feel that a work has been done exceptionally, and that it's justified, and that if you would feel like, this person has made a big difference to you, then you can pay them a bonus if you like. Probably a Christmas bonus is probably one of the more common kind of things that you should consider doing, just as a, thank you for especially if they've been with you for the year, thank you for your work and for your diligence, and here's a little bonus for, pay for some Christmas presents or that sort of thing. So make sure you communicate, keep yourself available on Skype, be responsive to emails, and have a good workflow system. Now, we use Podio, but you might use Workflow Max, or you might use Basecamp, or some sort of hybrid of spreadsheets and documents in Google Docs, whatever it is. Just make sure that everybody's clear about what they need to do and timeframes and deadlines. I hope that's been a bit helpful, and I'll see you soon. Feel free to hit me with some feedback. Let me know what your experience has been, what tools you're using to keep track of people. Maybe you're using something like Time Doctor and you're not actually tracking the time inside of odesk or a system like that. Love to hear from you. Thanks.